grace and love you have ordered every step. You're kind and true, God, you're faithful till the end.
Hello girls, and welcome back from the break. I hope you had an amazing time, that you were able to chat and just really just take in that beautiful word that Sabrina brought. Thank you, my friend, for that incredible message. Girls, I am so excited to introduce our next speaker. You definitely, if you watched last year, you definitely will recognize her face. Kate. Kate is from Sparrow Society, which I am also thrilled to have as our NGO that we are making everybody aware of and bringing light to that this year. We will tell you a little bit more about that a bit later on how you can get involved in assisting in her amazing NGO. So Kate is a social entrepreneur. She's a gender and diversity advocate. She's a founder and managing director of Sparrow Society, We Rise Coffee, and the Yes Girl Project. So girls, stand and let's honor Kate today as she comes onto platform. Welcome, Kate.
Thanks so much, Tams.
We're so excited to have you.
Hello. So good to be back with all of you. I'm just going to get set up here. Cool. Okay, so it's so good to be back with you this year and kind of praying through and preparing what I was going to say. I had a different message actually a few months ago, but I just really, as the time came closer, I really felt like this message this year couldn't just be a normal message because this year has been anything but normal. I don't know about you at home or those in this room, but I have almost forgotten what it is to have a normal life. What was life like before COVID? It's so hard to remember. I actually have to stop and think about it. There is no normal anymore. That's gone out the window. 18 months after initial lockdown, and we are rewriting normal. And as hard as that has been, it's also a gift. And I think we're missing that sometimes. It is a chance to reimagine the way we work, the way we educate, the way we parent, the way we interact with each other, the way we communicate, the way we do church, the way we do conferences. We're able to reinvent all of it. We are no longer stuck into these frameworks and structures and status quo. They are all up for the taking, and we get to change it. Never before have we had an opportunity like this to rewrite what is normal. And I also think it's a good time because normal is not working. And so today we're going to talk about that. We're going to go through it. And I know for some of you it's terrifying, all of this change and not knowing what's going to happen next. It's terrifying, but it's also kind of magical. So we're going to talk about some of those hard things because I also think it's important that we don't gloss over the hard of the past year, that we don't gloss over the pain of the last year because it's so real for so many. But I also think that we need to take a moment to see the opportunity in the midst of that and to see the gift in the midst of that. So the question is are we going to make the most of that opportunity? Or are we going to allow the hardness of it all distract us from the potential of possibilities? So the title of today's message, if you like that sort of thing and are taking notes, is When Life Gives You Lemons. If there was an audience right now, you would all shout, "Make lemonade!" But that's not the title of my message, and I'm speaking to a room of empty people. So today's message is very different. We are not going to have lemonade today. We are well past lemonade. I think we can all agree that lemonade is not going to cut it any longer. So the title of today's message is, When Life Gives You Lemons. Honey, throw them through the blessed roof. So that is my Southern Texas part. For those of you who aren't from Texas, the title is When Life Gives You Lemons, Throw Them Through the Roof. And I'm not talking about throwing tantrums because we can't control our emotions. No, that old trope is done. We don't even need to go there. When we throw lemons, we are breaking barriers. When we throw lemons, we are taking all the bad, all the hard, all the lemons, and we are throwing them to make way for new paths forward. Instead of sipping lemonade, pretending like everything's fine, like we always do, we are going to acknowledge what's not working, and we are going to make it better. Today, we are going on a journey of breaking free from normal and stepping into unimaginable possibility by breaking through the barriers that the world has created for us. So the thing with tragedy is that it's not just loss. It's so much more than the loss of a person. It's more than the loss of a job that sustains your family. It's more than the loss of experiences. It's more than the loss of memories or a way of life. Loss is more than a moment. Loss hits us in the depths of our reality. These moments that disrupt our lives and rock the core of all we thought to be true. These moments that disrupt, they tear down, they make the world around us completely crumble and threaten to drown us in a sea of rubble, where everything we thought to be true, to be real, to be safe, turn out to be everything but. From that moment of tragedy, everything is different. These are the moments that threaten to break us, but these are also the moments that give us an opportunity. They have the potential to move us. And I know that so many of you watching are living this moment right now. Eventually, we start to rebuild. Many of us are in that right now. It's been 18 months. We're like, okay, well, we got to start rebuilding eventually. So we start rebuilding brick by brick, but we're seeing it's not really fitting back the way it used to. There are these gaping holes in our walls. There are these cracks where things don't make sense anymore. So what do we do now? Maybe you didn't go through a tragedy, but your life has certainly changed. I know as a full-time working parent of 2 teenagers, I long for some semblance of a normal schedule, just for longer than 2 weeks. Some days they're at school, and then, oh no, they're at home, and then they finish at 2, and then this past week they finished at 10:30. What even is that? Why? And then Patrick gets COVID, so the whole class is in isolation for 2 weeks, and we have to figure it out. I remember at the beginning of the year thinking, oh, it's just for a season. We're almost around the corner. By term 2, it'll be back to normal. No, we're at the end of the year. There is no normal anymore. We can rewrite normal. Normal has gone out the window. We're all sitting here. Every single one of us, we're sitting in the wreckage together, trying to rebuild some semblance of normal life. But I think we're doing it wrong. Are we scrambling to try to fill those holes in our wall with something new and pretend like everything's fine? Are we just trying to patch it up and be like, no, okay, this will work. Yeah, okay, let's just try to get things to look as normal as possible? Or do we take a moment to walk up to those holes in our life and in those cracks, in those things that no longer make sense? Are we brave enough to walk up to them, peer through them, and see what else could be waiting on the other side? It's terrifying. But I want to encourage you to take this opportunity to look outside of your own world. Walk up to those holes and look outside of your perspective, outside of the status quo. Widen your perspective. Look around you. See that things are different. Look around you to see the person next to you. And I want you to know that even though it feels like it, you are not alone. We are all here together. You don't have to climb out of this on your own. There is a better way. You don't have to rebuild on your own. We've always been interconnected with one another, but we've been putting up these walls for so long that we've forgotten. We have forgotten each other. We have forgotten our neighbor. We have forgot to look outside of the walls that we have created. For so long, we have been ruled by our fear of the other instead of being ruled by the love that Christ called us to exemplify. The world right now is broken, and the tragedy isn't just in the death around us. The tragedy is in our brokenness with one another. COVID gave us a reminder that we are all more connected than we think. What someone does on the other side of the world can very quickly impact us here, and it has. But that also means that what we do here now can impact the entire world. It is a truth that is just as terrifying as it is incredibly empowering, because it means that we can actually change the world. We are not insignificant. No single person is insignificant. Every single one of us has the power to change the world. But we are not going to do that if we keep just doing things the way we've always done them, if we keep sipping lemonade, trying to pretend like everything is okay. Nothing is going to change. If we do that, we will have missed the opportunity to make it better. The hate, the division, the self-righteousness, it's all going to keep getting worse if we don't change it. We're going to keep getting driven further and further apart unless we change it. We are being given this opportunity on a silver platter. We are in this moment right now to change it. Normal is being rewritten, and we get to decide what it looks like next. So what if we take those lemons, and instead of making lemonade, instead of sweeping the bad under the rug and pretending like we don't see it, pretending like we don't know it's there until mom comes and says, "Why is all the dirt under the rug?" What if we say, enough? We've had enough. The world isn't as it should be. Gender-based violence is out of control. Women are being targeted and raped and abused at record numbers. Children are being left to fend for themselves, being raped, abused. People are being shot at just trying to get in a taxi to go to work. The list of the hard is impossible. It feels impossible. It makes us feel paralyzed. And I think sometimes the bigness of it all, the hardness of it all, it makes us scared, and it makes us recoil back into ourselves. And I think because of the bigness, we instead choose to pick fights over things like wearing masks because it's something small that we feel like we can control, so that's what we spend our time doing, but we're missing our moment. We are missing our moment right now to address the big things and to know that our lives do matter and that we can make a difference. It's time to shift, to get a better angle to see what's happening, to start looking at the bigger picture and to see what our place is in all of it and what we can do if we join hands with our neighbor. We have seen very clearly that it is time to move beyond our preoccupation with our own comforts and our own walls and see the impact that our choices have on the person next to us. If you will turn with me to Luke 5, we're going to get into our first story. We're going to be reading verse 17 to 26, the story of the paralyzed man. So this is the part of Jesus' ministry where the word had gotten out that he was a great healer. So people were flocking everywhere that he was going. On this particular day, he was in a house, and the Pharisees and the leaders of the law, the teachers of the law, were packed into this house. So the Pharisees and the teachers, these were the powerful people. These are the people that got to make the rules and told everyone else what those rules were. And then here comes this group of ordinary folk bringing their friend who is paralyzed. They get to the house and they see that all the doors and all the windows are blocked. They're blocked by the people in power, and they're blocked by these walls. Sometimes these walls we've built around us, and these religious and political leaders that we attach our allegiances to, they make us feel safe. But really, they're keeping us from seeing Jesus. These structures and these systems we have fortified, these talking points that make us slaves to ideologies instead of becoming the messengers of the love of Christ to a broken world, it is keeping us from experiencing the fullness that God has for us. In verse 19, we read that when met with these challenges, when met with this moment, this group of people, instead of giving up and turning around, they changed their perspective. Verse 19, when they could not find a way because of the crowd, they went up on the roof and lowered him on his mat through the tiles into the middle of the crowd, right in front of Jesus. Verse 20, when Jesus saw their faith, he said, "Friend, your sins are forgiven." Isn't that so interesting? It was the faith and tenacity of the man's friends that brought healing and salvation to the man. When he wasn't strong enough on his own, when he lay there paralyzed, the grit of his friends carried him through. They did not give up when things got hard. They did not allow themselves to be overwhelmed by the impossibility of the situation. They did not stop for lemonade. They took those lemons, they threw them through the roof, and they made room for their friend. Jesus honored their sacrifice and faith and did the impossible. And I'm not talking about physical healing. That was secondary. Jesus said, your sins are forgiven. When we throw our lemons through the roof to make space for people, salvation and redemption are on the horizon. Matthew 17:20, Jesus tells us that if we have faith as small as a mustard seed, you can say to this mountain, move from here to there, and it will move. Nothing will be impossible for you. But those mountains don't move by our own strength, but by our faith and our willingness to give of ourselves for a bigger purpose. So when the bigness of the issues around us seem too big for us to handle, when they look like insurmountable mountains, that is not the time to wallow and give up. It's not the time for lemonade. It is time to press in, give it everything we've got, and trust that God will do the rest. The story of the paralyzed man and his friends shows us that when our own strength is not enough, the strength of our community and the power of Jesus can still win. The story shows us when we seem to be out of options, where there seems to be no way, that is not the time to give up. That is the time to cut through all the noise, to cut through the power and the systems that hold us back and allow us to see Jesus. If you are sitting there in the rubble today, unable to move, you don't have to get out on your own. Call your friends, call on Jesus, and get some help. We all need each other. One of the biggest side effects of COVID-19 has been massive job losses. At Sparrow Society, we work to create economic employment, economic opportunity for women in order to subvert gender-based violence and other social inequalities that women face. And COVID threatened to derail all of that. Now, as Tam's mentioned, if you were with us last year, you would have heard that story. If you're on the newsletter, you would have gotten a video. If you haven't received any of those and you're intrigued by this story, I'm unfortunately not going to rehash it right now, but you can go to YouTube, search Sparrow Society, and it'll be there in the main playlist. But all of us are sitting now with this opportunity to remove these barriers in our life, not just for ourselves, but for others. The chains that bind us, the glass ceilings that trap us, the norms that try to tell us who to be and what we are capable of, these fractured structures gotta go. Because we are being handed an opportunity right now, and are we going to take it? A few chapters later, in Luke 10, Jesus enters another home, the home of Mary and Martha. I love this story. I think all of us can identify with some part of this story. So Martha is the doer, the task-focused one. She does everything she's told. She follows the rules. She is the model biblical woman. If we're going to define it, she would be the model biblical woman. So she's in the kitchen. Jesus is coming. She's getting everything ready. And then Mary, her little sister, she is more carefree. She doesn't much care for the rules. She doesn't really always do what she's told, maybe. But she is there at the feet of Jesus. Martha, frustrated with her sister, goes to Jesus and says in verse 40, "Lord, do you not care that my sister has left me to serve alone? Tell her to help me." Lord knows I've been there. In this story, sadly, I'm going to be honest, I identify more with Martha. I am the doer. I am the task-focused one. I get so distracted with my to-do list that I forget about everything else. But Jesus doesn't step in to tell Mary to go help her sister. No, he responds, "Martha, Martha, you are worried and troubled about many things, but one thing is needed, and Mary has chosen that good part, which will not be taken away from her." He said, "You are worried and troubled about many things, but only one thing is needed, and Mary has chosen that good part." super fascinating, especially given the patriarchal setting of this story. For a woman to even be allowed to be present in a room where the men are discussing things, especially if it's not her husband, was remarkable. But that Jesus stood up for her and said, no, she actually belongs here. She should be here. She chose the better part. That is revolutionary. It's extraordinary. Martha was so busy following the rules and norms prescribed to her that she missed her moment to sit at the feet of Jesus. But Mary wasn't afraid to break the rules if it meant getting a better perspective of Jesus. When I read this story, I cannot help but think of all the times that we as women get bogged down with what the world has prescribed to us, what the world has told us we're supposed to be doing. These are your roles. This is what you do. How many times have we been so distracted by that we miss our moment? And in that, we do two things. One, we miss our own moment. But two, like Martha, we push our noses up at other women who manage to power through and make it to the other side instead of supporting her. What we see in both of these stories is that when the framework of our lives is broken, when our normal is disrupted, it's time to pay attention and be ready so that we don't miss our moment to step into the impossible, to change what is normal, to rewrite our story, to be better humans. We do not have to do what the world tells us to anymore. The world is broken. We get to rewrite normal. We are rewriting our story. We are rewriting humanity's story. We are rewriting the story of us. We do not want to miss our moment to sit at the feet of Jesus. We don't want to miss our moment to see him because we're looking at other things. We're allowing the safety nets that we've created. We've built more walls. And we think that it's keeping us safe. But all it's doing is keeping us from seeing Jesus. At the end of this message, they're going to play a poem that was created by my team at Sparrow Society, showing the power of women to break through these barriers and to write a new story together. The women you will see in this video are all part of our women's empowerment programs. They exemplify the strength to move mountains. They shatter glass ceilings and rewrite their stories. These women are incredible. Each of them represents a different story. And I pray that when you're watching it, that you allow yourself to also rewrite your own story, to think about ways that you can step out. This thing about stepping into the glory of God. You can't do that if you're busy building walls and trying to follow the rules that the world prescribed to you. It doesn't work. One of my go-to verses that helps me in times like these, when I feel like the world threatens to bury me, is Romans 12:2. It says, "Do not be conformed by the patterns of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, so that you may know what is the good and perfect will of God." So it's time to say enough. We are done being confined by the narrow perspectives of this world. We are no longer going to be held back by the glass ceilings of this world, and we refuse to be held down by the lies of power and hierarchies that try to tell us where our place is. In this moment, our moment, we are breaking through and walking into a new kind of freedom. A freedom that goes beyond our own comforts, a freedom that goes beyond ourselves, a freedom that's big enough to carry all of us, a freedom that works in the impossible because it is a freedom that comes from God. So if you are sitting there sipping on lemonade, waiting for your miracle or waiting for someone else to solve the world's problems, I want to encourage you that it's time to get up. Call your girlfriends, grab some lemons, and start throwing them through the roofs. We can change the world, and we can do it better and faster if we do it together. Our time is now. Again, we've never been given an opportunity like this to rewrite normal. Our time is now, and you don't want to miss it. Thank you.
What do you see when you look at me? What is my place? To where am I confined? To whom do I belong? From which of my pursuits, dreams should I resign? I am she, bearing the image of the divine. I am we, an army done waiting in line. Ubuntu, do you think we've gone too far? I am because we are. It's the power of we over the power of me. Together we rise. Together we stand tall. Together no force of hell can surpass us all. We ride those waves of change with a twinkle in our eye. We walk on water when they thought we would die. The tide of history sweeps toward justice. The current of destiny pulls toward the brave. Can't you see when you look at me? This bird flocks together the way it should be. Battered, bruised, used, we rise. Watinta bafaz, watinti mbokoto, we rise. Strike a woman, you strike a rock. We rise. Creators, bosses, leaders, changers, we rise. There's more than enough room at this table. We rise. For you know we are just as able. We rise. What do you see when you look at me? Huh. Don't tell me. I'm already free. Come, rise with me. Through it all, still, we rise.
These are the days that we prayed for. A stirring of faith has begun. And I've seen so much, still I'm certain that the best is not yet come. Jesus, you're not done with me. You're doing a new thing. You're doing a new thing.
And I see a wave of revival, preceded by justice and praise. The young and the old run to Jesus. Oh, and all the sin that held us back lays away. Jesus, you're not done with me. You're doing a new thing. You're doing a new thing. For all I see, I still believe. You're doing a new thing. You're doing a new thing. You're doing a new thing. Oh yes, you are God. You are doing a new thing within our hearts. It starts with us. Your love is never gonna give up. You never give up. You never give up on me. Your love is never gonna give up. You never give up. You never give up on me. Your love is never gonna give up. You never give up. You never give up on me. I know. And I know no matter what I've done, your love is never gonna give up. I still believe you're doing a new thing. You're doing a new thing. Your love is never gonna give up. You never give up. You never give up on me. Your love is never gonna give up. You never give up. You never give up on me. Your love is never gonna give up. You never give up. You never give up on me. I know, Jesus, you're not done with me. You're doing a new thing. You're doing a new thing. For all I've seen, I still believe you're doing a new thing. 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 You're doing a new thing.
What an encouraging word brought by Kate. And girls, just before we break for lunch break, I just want to encourage you to go onto the Sparrow Society's website. We will put it on the screen below, or there will be a link on our website where you can go. All the information is available. All the information is there for you. You can go and have a look on how you can get involved in her various different projects that she's got going on. We have chosen some conference teas. Maybe Tash, maybe you can hold that for me just to show everybody. They are amazing, and you can buy them in support of sowing a seed into Sparrow Society. Kate is offering a special discount code just for Women of the Valley. So we will put all of that onto our website as well. But girls, go and have a little look around in your break. Get your phones out, get your iPads out, have a little shop. And otherwise, there's Donate, where you are able to sow into this beautiful NGO. They are incredible. I love them. It's very dear to my heart, as I have gone into the middle of Zambia with Kate before and was so blessed. And I love her heartbeat about raising women into all who God created them to be. So guys, go and have some lunch. Go and enjoy your time with your girls. And we can't wait to see you for the next part of conference. Bye.